Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. Vetri here. We got an EU Master Slate, 25K to first, and it's been a while. It's been about 4 or 5 days since I've done a YouTube video in the esports space. We've been continuing to cover it over on Patreon, but been making some NFL-related season-long content over on here. Haven't had a ton of huge slates, the 50 to 100K slates for the esports, but I'm excited. It's May 1st, and I want to give you an update just on all the content coming in May, as well as just breaking down this slate. And I do have the projections ready for this slate. You don't see them on the screen. You see the normal stats that are updated to date, but I will be speaking through the projections of players and stacks and things that I like for this 2-game slate that starts at 12 p.m. East Coast time today. I'm making this video at 5:30 a.m. East Coast time, so there's not going to be a ton of viewership on this, so I appreciate it. If you're watching to this point, please do hit the like button, lets more people see the video, but hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Those things are going to be very important in terms of just being able to reach more people, so I greatly appreciate it if you do those two things for me. Thank you so much. What's happening in May right now is continuing to cover esports, whether it is through some sort of League of Legends, CSGO, Call of Duty, Rocket League, all that stuff will be covered throughout May and throughout June and even right now as well, and it's already up for today's stuff on Patreon. Go ahead, check it out. No better time to sign up than on May 1st and the 1st of any month. But also, the MMA is going to be back. We're going to have that. The Korean Baseball League starts on Tuesday with a huge prize pool to first already, and I imagine it's going to draw a decent amount of attention since people just like baseball in general for DFS, and the strategies are very similar to League of Legends, so it's an easy transfer over in terms of stack heavy. So we're going to test out the waters, but I'll be covering it over on Patreon, and I'm also going to try and make some videos and see what the reach is on the search for Korean baseball. So if you've been somebody waiting for it, we're going to check that out as well, because why not when we have some real physical sports to go through. But the MMA is going to be back for weeks. Going to see if I can get a guest on the show, but we'll be covering all of that. Loads of stuff going out on Patreon. Tons of NFL videos going to continue to drop every single day. I know they might not be the most resourceful right now for you specifically, although I would argue they are, but check them out. Feel free to check them out if you indeed are looking forward to some NFL content and being able to get ahead of the game on those. But really the strategy there is long-term. Once I get my stuff and my information in the YouTube algorithm, it allows me, once more people start to search, to rank higher than other people if I put the work in upfront right now. So if they only get a few hundred views, that's fine to me. But if it is indeed helping you, and I'm spending more time than I ever have on videos with those ones, so check out the cool editing stuff on them and be sure to hit that subscribe button. With that said, I hope you all are enjoying yourselves. I hope you all take your shoes off, relax, sit back. Let's get into this slate right now. It's going to be starting at noon Eastern time, so depending on where you are watching this, should be without a question earlier in your day, even if it is on the West Coast. At the top lane position today, so you're going to have the biggest favorite, and it depends on where you look in this, but SO4 right now, Evolution, they're coming in with different Vegas odds because they're doing a weird thing in the EU Masters where pretty much every team is playing each other today. I found different odds in these teams. They're the biggest favorite on the slate, and it matches what my projections are doing as well. MRS and Kick is a couple of teams that are going to come through as really close underdogs and really close of a pick 'em almost. You have Movie Riders as a -139 favorite against Kick and Neosurf, who's a 102 underdog, but these teams profile out very similar. I mean, Kick has a better KDR at 1.69 as a team. Movie Riders has a worse KDR relatively to Kick at 1.48. You have Movie Riders only dying 7.7 times per contest, but Kick Neosurf leads the slate with 20.3 kills per contest. Now you also have to keep in mind these are small samples for the EU Spring 2020 split with only 3 games, as you can see on the screen right there in column M. A lot of these stats are going to be very much skewed if you have played a bad team like Team Singletary on the slate today. They have died 23 times per contest and 5 kills per contest only. They're facing Shulk Evolution right now, and Shulk Evolution is just going to pop in every single spot for my projections today. I'm going to pull up my projections on my separate screen here, but Sleeping right now is my highest projected top laner by almost 4 points, and only $6,400. Now I know it's a decent gap to the next top lane in Beansu and iBoy, but $6,400 is not that expensive. So it seems to be that any way that you go about it today, having some sort of 3 to 4 man stack of this SO4 team is going to be imperative, and then just picking the winner of the pick'em between Movie Riders and Kick Neosurf is going to be important. I do think getting to Kick Neosurf makes you a little bit different, and I do like their upside today indeed, although Movie Riders doesn't die that often. I think they have some advantages when it comes to lane control. Dragon control is very similar as well for the teams, and then obviously just Kick Neosurf, a really high upside in terms of a kill team as well. And when you look at this slate, iBoy is going to stand out more, although an underdog compared to Beansu. So Sleeping is going to be, it's just almost lock a 4-man stack and try and get different, whether that means try and put a supporter top lane in your captain spot. And I think a really decent way to maybe get different on this slate, 4-3 stacks on 2-game slates are normally going to win it, so it just sucks. You have to kind of bite the bullet on that. But 4-2-1 stacks are interesting to at least work through if you were to put a mini laner from the 1 off the 4-2-1 and the losing team in your lineup. It's not a high upside approach when there's 5 or 6 games, but on a 2-game slate, it can land on that. And mid laners usually score the most points in losing matchups. So I wouldn't be shocked to see something like that happen. And the thing is, nobody's going to be rostering a losing player mid laner in a 4-2-1 stack. So you have to just try and get unique. The biggest thing about League of Legends and really any DFS format is getting the most uniques you can in a tournament. The second that 50 to 100 other people have the same lineup that you do, you're just wasting your money that night. You're going to split the highest price point at best, and that's just terrible. So we head over to the mid lane now, and when we look at the mid lane, this is a spot where you can probably select a losing player and maybe still come up with some points. So once again, Saratus from SO4 Shulk Evolution is going to be my highest projected player by about 4 points here. 28.5 points is what I have as the projections. If you want these projections every single day, they're uploaded onto Patreon for every single esport. There's rankings as well, and the data models there will be for the Korean Baseball League, for MMA, and then obviously once we get back into golf in June, very excited for that. NBA should be coming back around. NHL is already planning to come back. So everything is slowly we're getting some more positive news on the sports. So that's good to see. Should not have any hesitations with NFL as well. So so SO4, I can say for every single position that we go through, they're going to be my favorite player from that exact positional unit. They're my favorite stack. But this is where you start to get interested in that mid lane. You have Zyko and you have Matislaw. They're both projected for me right around 24 points. They're both very similar. I have 24.6 points for Zyko, and for Matislaw, I have 24 points even. So if you wanted to take here, just take one of them, I guess, as your one-off. And even if they were to lose, you're in a good situation because they might lose and still score 22 points. The winner might score 26 points. Maybe they score 20 points in a loss, and that doesn't sound as great. But there's ways that you can try and make up for it. And maybe they lose and they both score 24.5 points. And now you have a unique lineup that has similar points to some of the other lineups that have 100 combinations of them. So I think this is one spot where you can get different. Again, I much prefer the 4-3 stacks, but I'm also well aware that 60% of the field is going to be running 4-3 stacks tonight. So your odds of being duplicated are so high. So the edge of just trying to get a little bit different by giving up more ideal upside in theory by going 4-3 is appealing to me. So I'm not going to get to anything from Team Singletary today. So it's really going to be lock in SO4 4-man stacks or even 3-man stacks if you want, and then try and load up on some 3-man stacks. So 4-3 stacks, I'm locking in number 1, trying to get unique within those. Number 2, I'm going to be looking at 4-2-1 stacks, and I think this is a big advantage and really an interesting spot, I should say, as to where you can get different with a one-off mid laner from that Movie Riders and Kick Neo Surf spot. So when you go over to support's not going to be all that interesting to me personally. So we only have a couple games in here for some of these support players. They haven't been playing all 3 games, so it's really small samples. If I pull up my support projections today, my projections are once again 3.5 more points than anybody else I have projected for nukes a lot. None of them are that expensive, $5,600. And then you get some really cheap players. So once again, Movie Riders and Kick Neo Surf. You have Raxo at just $4,800. I have Raxo today projected for, who leads the slate in assists and kills, albeit an easy schedule so far. I have Raxo projected for 16 points even, and then I have Rux projected for 16.3. So Rux is the favorite, but I only have him projected for 0.3 more points. Now, if you had a loss out of Raxo today, Raxo might only come away with like 12.5 points, which is not great. So if I was to take the one-off spot, it would be more so at the mid laner, because the mid laners can actually produce points in a loss that usually support players won't based on their correlation with wins. So Nukesalot is by far the best player that I would take out of these support positions, and then I'd probably rank it Raxo and Rux in that order just based on the price point and the similar value. Quickly, before we get into the AD carries on this slate, I want to let you know about Monkey Knife Fight. That's the picture above. That's the promo below. Monkey Knife Fight has player props right now for the EU Masters. They're going to have it for the MMA. They're going to have it for any sport that comes out. It's a player prop betting site focused on fantasy sports as well, but you could also take over-unders on for esports, kills, assists, total fantasy points. So my projections will help with that, but also you can go in there, you can play. And if you want to sign up for the first time, minimum deposit is $10 over there, but they'll throw in $15. If you also sign up right now during the esports boom, if you will, I'll throw in my League of Legends course as well. It's like a $30 value. It's about 2 hours of courses that are in there, so you can check that out. But anyways, if you wanted to throw in $50 and you just want to play a lot over there, you already play a lot of props and you want to get more action down, they'll match you $50 back. So you get a free $50. It's a 100% deposit match up to $50. The promo code is Vetri. There's also a link in the description, but you can just use the promo code if you want. If you only want to throw in $10, have a little bit of fun, your bankroll will actually start at $25, free $15, and my League of Legends course. So check out Monkey Knife Fight. Click the link in the description below or head over there right now. Use the promo code Vetri. Take advantage of it. Go now. Go get it. Have some fun. Let's get back into this video. Heading over to AD Carry, the meat and the potatoes of the slate, the highest spots where you're going to get projections. And I'll also say right now, I'm going to put a big subscribe button up on the screen. If you're still watching this and for some reason you're not subscribed and you like fantasy sports content and you like daily fantasy sports content and you like the esports stuff that I got going on, and obviously we're going to get back into the MLB, the MMA, and then definitely the NFL is going to be somewhere where I take a ton of stuff. In the description below, there's going to be free rankings right now for the top 50 rookies that came out of the draft for fantasy football. So if you're not caught up on any of the rookie stuff, be sure to get caught up. Be sure to do better than the people in your fantasy football leagues or the DFS industry and get ahead of them, I have a ton of videos over on the channel for rookies, for just running back ranks early right now. Lots of informative stuff. I've never spent more time on videos, as well as the rankings below, totally free. So check those out with DFS strategy guides down there. Check those out as well. Let me know in the comments, would you be interested in, I'm putting together like a draft guide for the NFL season, for fantasy football season long stuff. Would you be interested in that? I'm going to be hopefully releasing it by June, if not sooner. A lot of stuff I already have done, rankings, player profiles, projections, a bunch of stuff on there, trying to get as much value in there as possible for everybody. Let me know if you're interested in that. Let's get back into the 80 carry now. So for 80 carries, it's an interesting spot once again. Neon I have projected for 29.9 points. That is 3.7 points higher than anybody else. I have Java projected for 26.2 and Pukey Style projected for 25.7. So once again, this second game is very close in projections. If there was a victory, that person would most likely score a little bit more points than the losing team, of course. So Neon is by far and away, I think, the best play in the slate. I think Neon looks like it's my highest projected player in the slate over Cerato's, the mid laner from SO4, by about 1.5 points. So I would choose one of them in my captain spot more often than not. But then I do think that you can, very similar to the mid lane option, mid laners usually score more than 80 carries in losses. So I still like the mid lane option more as a one-off spot if that's where you're trying to get different. But I still do think that you can do that indeed with the 80 carry spot. Say that you wanted to go with a 4-man stack of Shulk, and then you ended up getting a team slot of movie riders maybe, and somebody else for movie riders like a jungler, and then you did a one-off with maybe Pukey Style from Kick Neosurf, right? And then you hope that maybe they lose, but Pukey Style can still pick up like 26 points. Again, it's usually in theory not going to work out the way that it all adds up on a 2-game slate, but I think like 20, maybe 10% of the field will do that compared to 60 to 70% of the field going 4-3 stack. So you're giving up some upside once again to hopefully get a little bit more unique. So in this order, I like Neon by far, tier 1 of his own. And then Java and Pukey Style are right there combined next to each other. If you want to go $200 cheaper, Pukey Style does stand out. Better value play, 3.57 value rating. If you want to get access to all this, it's on Patreon. So jungler is the last spot. And I usually don't prioritize any type of junglers. On today's slate specifically, the junglers though are by far and away different. I think the other way that you can get specifically different if you want to continue to roll out maybe some of these chalky 4-3 stacks is by putting Gilius in your captain spot. Now normally 80 carries and junglers or 80 carries and mid laners in that order is where I prioritize my captains, but now I want to prioritize getting unique a little bit more since it's a 2-game slate. I have Gilius projected for 7 more points than the next closest jungler on this slate, 26.7 points. The next closest jungler is Movie Riders at 19.7 and then Kick Neo Sports at 19.2. So once again, they're a toss-up, but I think Gilius in the captain spot is one of the better ways to get an upside situation, but also be able to get a huge differential. So if you have Gilius in the captain spot, you now have to roster another jungler, so that's the downside, right? You have to put one of these other guys slotted into your jungler spot, but a lot of people aren't going to do that, and now you have a high upside player in Gilius, my 3rd highest projected player in the slate, only 3 points off the highest projected player in the slate in Neon in your captain spot, and also cheaper. It's important to point out that Gilius is $7,200 and Neon is $8,000, and Cerato's, the mid laner from SO4, is $7,800. So you also get to save money. And if it's a factor where now you have a unique lineup with a high upside captain and you're leaving $800 in the slate, well, bam, your lineup's probably going to be unique. So I think Gilius is another important sponsor. If you've been watching to this far so far, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button, but claps to you because I think that's one of the better edges on this slate specifically. And then once again, nothing from Team Singletary for me. And it's a coin flip between these 2 other teams in Kick Neosport and Movie Riders for their jungler. I literally have them at the exact same value ratings of 3.00. And finally, the team slot. So the team slot, I'm going to have interest in the 3 main teams. I don't want anything from Team Singletary, but the team slot I think will be interesting. I have Shulk projected for the most points. I currently have Shulk projected for 20.2 points, and then I have both Movie Riders at 15.9 and Kick Neosport at 15. So I do think that if you wanted to get different by going 4-man stacks with Shulk in the team slot, that's not totally out of the question for me. I don't know how much of a gap there is between them though. Like Shulk can score 18.9 points today in the team slot, and Movie Riders, if they win, can score 17.8. And like maybe you're getting unique because you have them in your team spot, but you gave up so much more upside by not getting another Shulk player in your lineup. So although I think they're okay to go to get different in like 3-man stacks, in 4-man stacks they're also okay to go to because you get different. Not a lot of people will do a 4-man stack with Shulk's team spot in there, but I think on this 2-game slate you're actually giving up too much of an upside there. So Shulk's going to be interesting to me. Shulk right now is averaging 14.7 kills per game and only 8.7 deaths per game, and now they're going up against a team who only gets 5 kills per game through 3 games and 23 deaths per game. So get as much Shulk players in your lineup as you can. Again, Gilius, the jungler, I think is very interesting in that captain spot. And then after that, not much really stands out. I don't want anything from Team Singletary. I think overall, Kick Neosurf is a nice option because they're a slight underdog, so you're getting cheaper prices on them, but you probably still get similar ownership to Movie Riders because people are sharp now and they're going to say, oh, well, Movie Riders in a 4-3 stack with Shulk, the two favorites on the slate is going to be maybe a little bit chalky. They'll go to Kick Neosurf, and I think it'll balance it out a little bit. But I do think Kick Neosurf, based on their price points, is a better value option on today's slate than Movie Riders. Movie Riders, obviously, the favorite there. So that's where I'm at right now. 4-3 stacks, obviously, are fine. Gilius in the captain spot makes you a little bit different. If you want to get more unique, though, 4-2-1 stacks with maybe experimenting with a mid lane or an AD carry as your one-off are very intriguing to me today. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. This video has only like a 6-hour shelf life by the time it gets up there, so the more people it can reach, the better. Thank you so much, everybody. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and the like button. Do all three of those things right now for me. Take a couple seconds of your time. Check out all the free stuff in the description below. Go sign up over on Patreon. The new month has started. It's the best time to sign up. We have more sports coming out in the Korean Baseball League and the MMA this month, so huge prize pools are going to be out there. 6-figure prize pools are going to be back, as well as still continuing to cover the esports. All that over on Patreon on a daily basis. Go check it out right now. I think it'll break down, like, based on the sport to like 20 cents per day or something crazy like that if you factor in all the sports for the all sports package for the 30 days. So thank you so much. I appreciate all of your time, and I will see you in the next one.